Hey everybody, I'm back. And I wanted to come on here and talk about dating while unhealed. And this is something that I was doing for a long time. I am 30 now, and I just turned 30 this year. And throughout my 20s, and I know when you're young and you're out there, it's okay to date because you're exploring yourself and seeing what you like and so forth. But this is something that I stopped. I stopped dating. It's been about maybe 2 or 3 years since I've been dating, just because I'm just trying to focus on myself and healing and all that, and getting myself together. But I came to the realization that I was dating when I shouldn't have, and I was doing that for a long time. And like sometimes you have to be in situations that you're not supposed to be in to kind of learn and realize certain things. So I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I don't take it back. Dating while being unhealed is was one of the indications of I had to come to a realization like I did needed to kind of take a step back and get some therapy and get myself together because I was going on dates with guys and you know it was either turning into a situationship or it wasn't getting past the talking stage or the ghosting happens and at that time, you know, I was in that mindset of, I was more in the victim mindset, and I was more thinking of, I'm not the problem, like it can't be me. And in some situations, you aren't, in some situations, you aren't. But then I had to realize, like, one, why is this cycle continuing to happen? It's the same outcome over and over and over again. And then I had to realize that I was looking for an outlet, like I wasn't really looking to connect with somebody. I was just looking just to have that void. And a lot of it has to do with that codependency. Codependency is something that I'm working on and then that I'm navigating. And I came to the realization I don't need to be dating right now, and that's okay. And you think of the saying, rejection is God's protection, because even in the situations where I was rejected, because some of them situations or rejection, it could have been me or it could have been them. Either way, right? Either way, it could have been either or. Either way doesn't matter at this point. But I'm saying that to say, even if you are in a situation where you have a lot of things that you need to work on within yourself and you are being rejected, you are still being protected at that moment because God is protecting you of being in a situation that you're not ready for or that you don't need to be in at that moment. And I had to come to to that realization, like I think a lot of people really do date while they still have unhealed trauma and that codependency, because they're trying to, like, instead of just taking a step back and doing that shadow work and working on themselves, you want your identity to be kind of connected with somebody else, and that's not healthy. And I had to realize that, you know, as a woman, as a black woman, that I need to, work on and figure out who I am as a woman, who I am as a person, what I like, you know, what my boundaries are. Cause child, when I was dating and I didn't even know what a damn boundary was. But that was just me trying to fish and search and search. And then I had to realize, like, wait a minute, girl, you skipping steps, you know, you skipping steps. But I don't regret it. I don't regret it because, I was able to go out, get that experience. And if I do decide to put myself out there, I know I have an idea of who I am, more of who I am and what I'm looking for. And I have my boundaries set up, and I'm more secure within myself. And I think that is really, really important. And I was a person that was just always blaming everybody else, always, looking at everybody else as an issue instead of just learning how to reflect on myself. And rejection is something that is really hard to deal with. Rejection ain't easy. But when you start to learn, and I'm learning this, I don't want to talk on here like I'm trying to preach to the choir, because all these topics that I'm talking about is stuff that I'm still working on, and I'm just getting, my feet wet into working on, is learning how to validate myself. and learning how to validate myself and learning that I am enough. And when you show up as your best self, you know I think that's like the best way. When you decide to start dating, I think that's like the best time that you should, when you are able to kind of just, when you're able to show up as your best self. Yeah, and that's just something that it was heavy on my mind, that I wanted to talk about, because I do think, like, a lot of times we do kind of just go out and just find people to help kind of, you know, sh- just cover up the things that we're trying to avoid. And I was doing that for a while, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm like, why is it I'm still ended up in these situationships? Why am I not making past the first date? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Like, why is, like, job and dating starting to feel like job interviews and all that stuff? And I'm just like, I have to take a step back and, like, put a time out. Like, girl, maybe you don't, maybe there's some internal things that you need to be working on, you know? And I'm glad I made that decision, because it's kind of like taking your power back too. So, and get all the tools that you need ready, because it's crazy out here in this dating, especially for Black women. Like, you have to be careful. You gotta be able to know what your boundaries are, identify red flags, because, like, it's just real crazy, right? Crazy when it comes down to dating. Like, you have to be extremely careful, especially as a Black woman. So, I was happy that I was able to come to that realization. Now, instead of, getting into a situation that I shouldn't have been in, and then realizing, like, wait a minute, this is not what I want. This is not what I need at the moment. So yeah, I just wanted to come here and share that with you. And bye.